The conflicted prince. King Dladla and Queen Dladla are sitting outside on the porch having some lunch. The sun is blazing hot, and the skies are blue, radiating with hope. The servants of the Ubejane kingdom are on their feet, keeping the kingdom running at its best. The king and queen are discussing the future prospects of their kingdom, and they are looking forward to having a princess who will marry their last-born son, as they are already keen on having grandchildren who will be running around in the palace. King Dladla and the queen have 3 children. Their last-born is a future designated king, and his name is Cain. Cain is a young, handsome chap. All the girls in the village want him to themselves, and he is a director in one of his parents' companies. Prince Cain is in a relationship with his long-term partner Nola Indo. They have 2 children together, a 3-year-old and an infant. The Dladlas don't know anything about Nola Indo or the children. Cain has kept his love affair a secret from his family because of their family dynamics, because according to the Dladla traditions, a future princess to the family should be someone who is a virgin and someone who carries a status that will add value to the kingdom. So Nola Indo is just an ordinary woman who is still a work in progress but was a virgin when she and Cain became lovebirds since varsity, and because his parents have a certain expectation of the kind of woman he should bring, this has made Cain keep his affair a secret from his family, though the Dladlas know Nola Indo as a best friend to Cain. And Nola Indo is not someone the queen sees as her future daughter-in-law. But when the time is right, Cain wants to formally introduce Nola Indo and their children to his family. The queen cannot stop pestering Cain about getting married. In the village, if a king's son is not married, they are less respected, and even the courtiers don't take any advice or instructions from an unmarried king's son. After a royal meeting, the king asked the queen when she is meeting with Cain to encourage him to get a wife already. The king's hands are full, and he needs a right-hand man like his son to assist him, hence his son needs to be married first so that he can be respected by the community and be trusted with the royal kingdom's affairs. Cain has stopped picking up his mother's phone calls because he knows that his mother will not finish their conversation without asking him the big question about getting married. So Cain stopped picking up his mother's phone calls, and this had the queen so frustrated that one day she went to Cain's office to confront him about not picking up her calls. The queen's confrontation led to them exchanging harsh, bitter words, and Cain knows deep down that he wants to marry Nola Indo. Later that evening the queen told the king what happened, and they both decided that it was time they made a decision for Cain by forcing him to get married to a woman they would pick out for him, and the queen knew that Cain was unfit to choose a woman who would be well suited for the kingdom based on his past relationships, as he always attracted women who only wanted his money and who didn't have the demeanor to be a princess. The queen delegated to one of her trustees to look for a future princess for her. She described the kind of woman she wants for her son. Miss Neem is the one assigned to look for a princess. Miss Neem is the head of housemaids in the kingdom, and she already has one kind of woman in mind, and Neem is honored to be trusted with such a task. The queen is hoping for the best outcome, as she is only taking a risk for the sake of the kingdom, and another part of her feels uncertain that this will work out. And on a lighter note, the queen has a sense of relief that she has a solution for this so far, and she is not planning on telling Cain about this until the day he meets a woman who will be chosen for him, and the queen wants to play out her plan so well in such a way that it will leave Cain with no choice but to dance to her tune. The queen is looking forward to this day. She will be meeting the 3 ladies that Miss Neem has lined up for her. They are all virgins according to certificates of virginity they produced. They met at the palace, and the queen likes all of them. She is even divided that she can't even decide who to pick. She pulled Neem to the side while the girls waited, and they both discussed who to pick. Neem strongly advocated for her niece to be picked up, and her name is Lucy. She said all the beautiful things about her, though she comes from a poor background, but she has worked so hard to escape her cycle of poverty. After a week of thought about Lucy, the queen finally invited her so that she could get to know her better. Lucy carries a strong charm and charisma that is very hard to resist, and the queen has been smitten. What the queen does not know is that Neem bribed one of the elderly women who run virginity tests on girls in the village to give her a false certificate that proves that Lucy is a virgin, which is not true. Lucy has 3 children from different fathers, and she is unemployed. She preys on rich men and she survives through her children's child support from their fathers, and Lucy is a hardcore go-getter, and she always gets what she wants come high or low. Before meeting the queen, she saw an evil seer who gave her some charms to win the queen's approval and listened to her, and the charms have worked because the queen is already under her spell. The queen liked Lucy, and on the spot she asked her to move into the palace to be trained as a princess. The queen called her mother-in-law to come over to stay in the palace for at least 3 months so that she can assist with Lucy's royal training. This will include teaching her how to dress as a noble, and there will be a strict diet she will undergo to look as perfect as a doll for her wedding day, and she will be using very trusted skin brands on her skin, which will give her a princess glow. Lucy and Neem meet behind closed doors in the palace with high caution from time to time to ensure their deception is sealed. But one day one of the guards overheard Neem and Lucy gossiping behind closed doors in Lucy's bedroom while he was passing by, and he stopped to listen and he figured that actually Neem and Lucy are deceiving the whole palace. His jaws dropped and he does not know what to do with the information as yet. He recorded their conversation for the future. The queen tried to test the waters. She begged Cain to come home, insisting she has something delightful for him, and she apologized to Cain for pressuring him about getting married. Cain drove home after a hectic day at work to be met by a very beautiful woman he had never seen before. It has been almost 3 weeks of Lucy's training, and already a lot of progress has been made from her looks to her demeanor, and it shows she is getting well trained and the process is working out very well. The queen purposely left Cain and Lucy together in the visitor's room, and she pretended to have an emergency. Lucy and Cain spoke, and it seems that they are getting along very well, and Lucy's charm is doing the most. It had Cain reconsidering for a moment, and Cain knows exactly what his mother is doing. At first, he was a bit annoyed but didn't want to act out of character, especially in front of a guest, but went with the flow for peace's sake. The queen and Neem kept checking up on them, and they are happy that they are getting along. Cain went home, and his mind is somewhere else. He is thinking about Lucy, and it seems Lucy's spell has also worked on him. Nola and Do kept asking him if he is okay, and he assured her that he is fine. Midnight, around 10 p.m., Lucy received a phone call from the evil seer to come to her place. She quickly formulated a plan to go out, and she told the king's mother Gracie that she has to rush home to her mother, stating that she might be in trouble, but it wouldn't need the kingdom's help as she can handle it on her own. Gracie got worried about her, but Lucy assured her that she will be fine. She drove to the seer's place to perform a certain ritual that will ensure that she gets to be the princess come high or low. Meanwhile, Cain is having a nightmare and he dreamt himself getting married to a huge snake, which almost swallowed him alive until he woke up, cutting the dream off. He is so terrified and is sweating profusely. He doesn't understand if the dream is warning him not to get married to Nola and Do or not to entertain Lucy. He is planning to marry Nola and Do, but he is not sure anymore. The dream is conflicting him. In the morning, Cain is cold towards Nola and Do, and she doesn't understand why. Nola and Do tried to get him to speak up, but Cain won't say a word to her. It went on and on until Cain snapped and accused Nola and Do of being a witch. To Nola and Do's shock, she lost it, and they argued so loudly that their children started crying. Back at the palace, the seer instructed Lucy to give the king and the queen cups of tea with a drop of a potion that will blind them to make her a princess. Lucy offered to make tea for the royals, and the king and the queen are impressed by Lucy's determination to serve. In the kitchen, Lucy kept looking over her shoulders behind her to ensure that no one sees her. But unfortunately for her, Mr. Malloy saw her again, and he was perplexed and horrified by her actions. Mr. Malloy quickly hatched a plan to disturb the royals from drinking the tea, and they ended up not drinking the tea. Lucy got angry, and she will attempt to poison them again later on. Mr. Malloy does not know who to tell about this, but he knows that Cain is in a relationship with Nola and Do, so he got hold of Nola and Do to at least talk to someone about Lucy and her budding relationship with Cain. Mr. Malloy told Nola and Do about everything he saw, and he sent Nola and Do voice notes of Neem and Lucy talking behind closed doors and pictures of Lucy spiking the king and the queen's tea. Nola and Do is so shocked at the discovery, and now it makes sense why Cain is acting up so strange lately. On the other hand, Cain is falling hard in love with Lucy, and they are out together on a date to get to know each other more, and their date ended up in a hotel room. They are both heavily drunk and Cain does not want to do anything funny with Lucy but just rest. They slept together in the same bed, and at 12 a.m., Lucy disappeared from the hotel room. When Cain regained his senses, he quickly woke up in the early hours of the morning to go home. Nola Endo has been stressed lately about Kane, and she called her mother to tell her about the recent things that have been happening. Nola Endo and her mom prayed over the phone together, and Nola Endo believes the only way she can overcome this new obstacle is through prayer. The Queen and the royals have started planning for the wedding. 3 months is almost over, and the Queen can't wait for the royal wedding, and so is Lucy. The Queen gave Neem a reasonable amount of money to get Lucy something as a thank you gift, and Lucy and Neem went out to an exclusive spa to sip some champagne to celebrate their close victory. They are so excited and on top of the moon. Neem knows she will also benefit once Lucy becomes the princess. They are already planning the kind of vanity life they will be living, filled with luxury and glam. Nola Endo is on her knees praying for the evil forces that have plunged Kane to be dismantled. Kane is no longer talking to her or even looking after their children, and he is no longer sleeping at home. Kane is secretly planning his wedding with Lucy with his family, and he is so convinced that Lucy is the love of his life and Nola Endo is the one who is a snake he saw in his dreams. Mr. Malloy sees all of this happening, and he does not like it at all. He pulled Kane to the side to enlighten him a bit, but Kane is stubborn. He doesn't want to listen to the voice of reason. The very same night, a few days before the royal wedding, Kane is at the bar with his best friend, and he is having the time of his life. His best friend also tried to knock some sense into him that he can't just get Nola Endo pregnant and dump her just like that to marry a woman he met just 2 minutes ago. When Kane sobered up, his best friend's words haunted him, and he is questioning his decisions at the same time he is wondering how Lucy left the hotel that night when they spent some time together, and he can't make sense of it. Kane is in his senses. He is questioning himself. How can he marry a girl he does not know and neither has met her parents? Each and every time Kane brings up the topic about meeting Lucy's parents, Lucy will beat around the bush and talk about something else, or she would simply get angry. Kane finally made a decision, and he weighed his decisions, and he is not sure who Lucy really is, and he is not getting satisfactory answers he is desperate for from her. Kane decided it is enough. He is not going on with this wedding. He sat his parents down, and the king and the queen are not happy with Kane's change of mind. Suddenly, they threatened to disown him if he did not get married and freeze his accounts, which led to Kane confessing to being in a relationship with Nola Endo and that they have 2 children together. The queen fainted at the revelation, and the maids rushed to resuscitate her. The king is hot with anger at Kane. He ordered the guards to throw Kane out of the palace. The queen is bitterly disappointed at Kane, and the question of whether the wedding continues hangs in the air. Meanwhile, Lucy is in her room at the palace, and she is busy performing voodoo for things to go her way. The king's mother entered Lucy's bedroom without knocking or a warning, and she found her doing strange things. Gracie tried to confront her, but Lucy quickly grabbed a knife from her drawer, held her roughly against her will, and threatened her that she will slit her throat open if she dared scream or do anything stupid. Neem saw this, and she begged Lucy desperately to stop what she is doing, but Gracie screamed, attracting the royals to Lucy's room. Everyone rushed to her room, and Lucy started making atrocious demands to the king and queen, or she would kill Gracie. The few guards who were on site wanted to strike, but the king stopped them. The queen is crying hysterically, and Mr. Malloy hears what is happening. He quickly called the cops to the royal house, and he also alerted Kane and Nola Endo to rush over. The cops came, and Mr. Malloy ordered the cops not to act, or else Lucy would kill Gracie out of fear. He showed them another way to Lucy's room, that they can climb up the wall and through the window to shoot her from behind. Indeed, the cops did that while the king and the queen were held hostage. The king was busy transferring large sums of money to Lucy's accounts. Before the king hit send on the last transaction, the police were already on the 3rd floor by Lucy's window, and they shot her leg to bring her to her knees. Lucy fell down, and Gracie escaped. The guards held Lucy, and she was arrested together with Neem for conniving evil plans against the kingdom. After that tragedy, the king and the queen received counseling, and the wedding has been cancelled. Nola Endo and Kane are working towards fixing their relationship, and the royal council has ordered to see their offspring as they already know Nola Endo. The queen didn't see this one coming since she knew Nola Endo as a friend to Kane, and it is still mind-blowing to her that they even have kids together all under her nose. The royals have decided to put their expectations aside, and they accepted Nola Endo and her beautiful children. Kane's sisters also approved of her. Cain paid a fat dowry to Nola and Do's family and brought Nola and Do's family a cow as a way to apologize to them for not marrying Nola and Do all these years. After some time, there was a wedding at the palace with everyone who is a community member of the village invited, and Nola and Do became the princess, working side by side with the queen to improve the quality of life in their village. Mr. Malloy got a promotion to be the head of guards and a car and housing allowance for his trustworthiness and carrying the kingdom on his shoulders. The end.